And this is Mick, the Doctor of Digital.
And welcome to Love Letters. Love Letters are collection of stories that people get lost, get crazy and disoriented in the name of love. And of course, another episode, another week on Love Letters. So, Mr. Meek, why do hot girls settle?
Yeah, so we try to introduce this topic. I like the title, and hope others do as well. I read several stories by women, speaking of stories, and they wonder why did they settle and why do they compromise their values in relationships with men. So I'd like to examine them first to understand some modern relationships. For example, Sasha writes on Substack and she asks the question, which is a good one to ask: why do hot girls settle? It's disconcerting to see so much heartbreak and angst around the dance floor, where I view it weekly, 'cause I like to dance, serial, non monogamous, friends with benefits arrangements, or rinse and repeat relationships. So I'd ask the question, what's going wrong? In a world that often celebrates beauty and attractiveness, can be surprising to see the seemingly hot girls settle for partners who may not meet their expected standards. This phenomenon raises questions about self worth, societal pressures, and personal values. Why do attractive women sometimes compromise their standards? So, I'd like to talk about some of the reasons behind this behavior, present an alternative view rooted in biblical teachings. Sasha had the treat of catching up with her girlfriends for drinks and a well needed boogie, as she says, so the scene is set. Before long, the ladies were commiserating about the relationship travails across the sticky pub table, and the common consensus was that men are very much underwhelming. Sasha reports that her friends are hot, smart, witty, funny, and alluring. They're all girls who take home to meet the family. Yet they are stuck with mediocre, crusty men who can't even commit to a dinner plan, let alone their feelings. Sasha was in London and it was a hellish dating scene, she reports. After multiple failed first dates, some lackluster one night stands, and a failed 8 month long relationship, I too began to question the reality of modern dating. She did get lucky though, and out of nowhere, a good man popped up. Maybe it's a rhetorical question, but she asks, where has chivalry gone? It seems like Sasha had a traditional upbringing in many ways and no doubt expected that she would be Cinderella. She watched romance comedies with her mother and saw men opening the doors for women, getting flowers, assisting with her coat, or tucking in her chair for dinner. Women expected men to plan a date. Yes, the ladies expected gentlemen to book a restaurant. Sasha does ask, and I wonder how seriously she acknowledges the real problem she states. But are we, as women, just lowering our standards while men are making the most of these easily achievable expectations? Or have we been forced to settle on the bare minimum in hopes of finding the one? Indeed, women are most agreeable. They do lower their standards and they have a low bar while they accept a deficient Prince Charming. Sasha watched the film He's Just Not That Into You for the first time, and it put things into perspective. She reports that after waiting for a reply after 3 days of silence was, if he wanted to, he would. However, I also fought myself by saying, if I wanted to, I would, and I would inherently send that double or triple text. Ouch, Sasha. The guy reads these texts as total desperation, but she caved and settled. To a dude, that's obvious. But will things ever change and what needs to happen? Dating apps have just made the dating scene into a fiery pit of hell. They have allowed people to flee conversations without explanation. Thus, ghosting is now a standard practice. The abundance of choice has devalued real connections, turning dating into a mindless swipe game where commitments feels optional. We've been conditioned to think that effort is a rare commodity, something to be cherished when we stumble upon it, rather than as a baseline expectation. In conclusion, women should calibrate and recalibrate their standards and demand more, and men need to step up.
Yes, men need to step up and do their job well. So, do women need to kill the man inside their head?
Yeah, this is another respondent. So I wanted to see all these folks and what these women were saying. It's How to Kill the Man Inside Your Head, a feminist guide to unlearning internalized misogyny. This is by Abha Ahad. This is the feminist guide, and to reject men is entirely option. And this is internalized misogyny. And this was also in a Substack article by Abha Ahad. She asked, do you have a man in your head, gazing at the world through your eyes, judging? Does he make you second guess everything you do to simply exist? Does he tell you you aren't enough? You need to cover up more. Do you occupy too much space? Does he give you a list of things to do in order to please him? What angles he finds sexy? What number on the scale is acceptable to him? How to protect your femininity? Does he watch you pretend to care about things you don't and ignore things you do? Don't worry, you aren't alone. She confesses. Ahad says, I have a man inside my head too. She relates a lifetime of an imaginary man who, since she was 12, occupied her mind incessantly. She was told to distance herself from other girls. She had to work out and lose weight. Relationships were impure and sex was disgusting. The man commented and defined her every move, her hairstyle, her tan, and told her that other girls were too girly. There was a profound contradiction in her male guidance. Women were Abha's competition, and she should be jealous of them. However, being feminine was bad, but also what Ahad was supposed to do. She believed him and acted always to ensure she had his approval. Not surprisingly, she reports, it was exhausting. Who was this man? She states, the man in my head was the personification of the misogyny I had internalized. He was the agent of patriarchy assigned to me. He was also a family heirloom. Both her mother and grandmother had a man in their heads. Grandma told Ahab that without a man inside her head, she will lose her way, culture will crumble, and society will collapse. Growing up, though, Abha thought the man in her head had made less and less sense. She actually began to admire women for their sensitivity, empathy, resourcefulness, kindness, beauty, and smarts. Ahad concludes, they were me, I was them, so I decided to kill him. It wasn't easy. She poisoned, fought, confronted, and challenged him intellectually. The man responded that he hated her, but loved her, and missed the old misogynist Abha. But the community of women around Ahad helped her. She did have a man inside her head, but that was she had to kill him by accepting his existence as an internalized misogyny. Abha decided and determined to kill that man in her head. She began to read feminist thinkers and make decisions for herself without consulting the man inside her head, and she found it exciting and refreshing. Ahad quotes from Margaret Atwood to make her point. Margaret Atwood is a celebrated Canadian novelist, poet, and literary critic who is known for her powerful and thought provoking works that often explore themes of feminism, politics, and the human condition. Born in 1939, Atwood has written over 50 books, including novels, poetry collections, and essays. She's won numerous awards for her writing, including the Booker Prize, the Arthur C. Clarke Award, and the Governor General's Award. Her most famous works include the novels The Handmaid's Tale and Oryx and Crake, which has been adapted into successful films and television series. Atwood's writing is characterized by its lyricism, wit, and intellectual depth, and she is widely regarded as one of the most important and influential writers of her generation. Her work often explores the complexities of human relationships, the impact of technology on society, and the struggle for power and control, and is marked by a nuanced and compassionate portrayal of human experience. Here's an excerpt from her work. Male fantasies is everything run by male fantasies. Up on a pedestal or down on your knees, it's all a male fantasy. That you're strong enough to take what they dish out, or else too weak to do anything about it. Even pretending you aren't catering to male fantasies is a male fantasy. Pretending you're unseen, pretending you have a life of your own, that you can wash your feet and comb your hair unconscious of the ever present watcher peering through the keyhole in your own head, if nowhere else. You are a woman with a man inside watching a woman. You are your own voyeur. Margaret Atwood, this is from The Robber Bride. Abha believed in herself, her brains, and her resourcefulness. The feminists told her that women don't give men sex. It wasn't theirs to take. It was a mutual activity that both should derive pleasure from. Feminists encourage Ahad to explore her androgyny. Androgyny is a term to use to describe individuals who exhibit characteristics of both masculinity and femininity, often blurring the traditional gender binary. Androgynous individuals may identify in many different ways, in many different forms. They dress in a way that blends traditional masculine and feminine styles for those who identify having a gender that's neither male nor female. And do you know, once that she started embracing androgynous styles and identities, she relates, I got myself. I got a community. I got my biggest cheerleaders. I got my harshest critics. I got people who would defend my name in rooms I haven't been to. I got people who hold my hand as I go through the journey called life. I got to experience the purest form of love, platonic female friendships. For Ahad, the man inside her head, killing her lies dormant. In conclusion, some feminists, platonic female friendships are the answer.
Mm, definitely. Thank you, Ms. Margaret Atwood, for empowering women all over the world. So, how about Mr. Mick, the traditional wife alternative?
Sure, there's yet another woman who reports and looks at and considers the traditional wife, the trad wife. There are women who have high standards and enough men to pursue them, so perhaps that's an alternative to both female friendships alone or Sasha's hot girl dilemma. So next up to consider is Stella, and she has a Greek name, Tasandagitu, so it's hard to pronounce. I'm just going to call her, of course, Stella. She had an exciting college experience as a Greek girl in the UK where she admired the British girls dancing. She vividly recalls a scene. A flock of British girls dropped like a glitter bomb in the middle of the dance floor. They wore heavy makeup and clothes my Greek mother would describe as man repellent and danced like nobody was watching, limbs flailing around like an inflatable tube man. I was mesmerized by their evident disregard or ignorance of what is attractive to a man. I was green with envy. What was their secret? Feminism, I was told at my London university, was what allowed British women to live their lives free of striving to be the embodiment of femininity, a value enshrined in my DNA as a Greek woman. British feminism was thrilling to Stella, and she caught the fever. She campaigned to ban overtly sexy songs and followed it up with a zero tolerance to sexual harassment campaign. As a left wing immigrant woman, her student political career unfolded brightly before her. She was disillusioned, though, with the feminist rage as she realized the conflict with her Greek heritage. Stella had British friends who saw her makeup as optional and being comfortable and authentic as mandatory, but most astonishingly, they were certain they never wanted to get married. For Stella, she had no roadmap for a life without the bare bones of the nuclear family. It was the lockdown that increased the conflict. Stella read about the tensions between liberal feminism and wholesome traditional values. Her and her feminist friends were red pilled with Camille Paglia. Paglia does that to people. Also well known from a city that I love and mentioned before, of course, the city of Philadelphia. Camille Paglia is an American academic, author, and cultural critic known for her provocative and contrarian views on a wide range of topics, including feminism, sexuality, and popular culture. She taught primarily at the University of the Arts in Philadelphia, and her writing often challenges conventional wisdom and sparks controversy, as seen in her 1990 book, Sexual Personae, which argued that Western culture is obsessed with sex and that women's liberation is not necessarily synonymous with sexual liberation. So that naturally got her in hot water. So her views on sexuality and gender have been particularly influential, and it has been critical of the sexual revolution, arguing that it's led to a culture of promiscuity and exploitation. And this was a big influence on Stella as well. It got her to think. Intellectually, Stella thought feminism is no longer untouchable. Culturally, it was no longer cool. Girl boss was used as a sarcastic snarl reserved for women with outward success and questionable values who were preoccupied themselves with themselves and their image. The conversation had moved on. The term girl boss is a popular cultural phenomenon that originated in early 2010s. It refers to a woman who is a successful entrepreneur, business owner, or leader in her field who embodies strong, confident, and ambitious personality. It's often used for women who have achieved success and recognition in traditionally male dominated industries or fields, and it's seen as a role model inspiration. Moreover, Stella returned to Greece to avoid being in London during the pandemic. She relates, and nothing will make you stop questioning feminism faster than spending 6 months in your hometown locked in with your mother. I was slapped in the face with a parallel reality I had forgotten about. Stereotypes, and back home for my mother, she's not just pro marriage, but they're obsessed with it. Stereotypes are never a fair depiction of reality, but can indicate trends, and girls from my hometown, Thessalonica, have a national reputation. Thessalonica Kia denotes a woman who overdresses, overgrooms herself, and is always feminine. The recurring meme to a girl dressed like a Love Island contestant with the tagline, Thessalonica is going to the library to study. She objected to that term because it hurt badly during the financial crisis with high youth unemployment, especially among young women. The femininity of these individuals related to the economic and social position of women in Greece, and it really hurt them. And that's what turned her off to it. Stella noted that in Greece, the male gaze was still omnipresent. And as a result, more young women spend an increasing portion of their diminishing resources on attracting and keeping the attention and affection of men. Stella's mother pressured her for grandkids. The family raised their eyebrows at Stella's appearance and attitudes as it dawned on her that cultural elites can revel in their snobbery and intellectualizing, but Greece was part of the global majority. That's what most people want, traditional values. Stella's mother has a traditional worldview, but there was emotional and practical value in it. Mom had a good balance of feminism and family life. She built her own business and planted her office close by feeding me spoonfuls of lentil soup with one hand and shouting at clients on her Nokia flip phone with the other. Education was important, not for navel gazing, but to provide opportunities for women so they were not locked into marriages they could not afford to leave. The priority of Stella's mom was her daughter's sexual reputation and safety. Tales of abuse were prominent in Mom's village on the island of Crete. Stella relates that affluent women may have grown tired of equality, but they shouldn't give up on the revolution before it's gone global, because a lot of women are still way behind. Stella had three options: either be a Thessalonikas, a girl boss, or a tradwife. She picked the middle option of girl boss and not a tradwife. Tradwife is a term that's gained popularity in recent years, and it refers to a woman who chooses to prioritize her domestic and family responsibilities over career or professional ambitions. Tradwives often identify as homemakers, caregivers, or partners to their husband, and they may focus on raising children, managing the household, supporting the family's well being. It's a play on the phrase, of course, traditional wife. It's often describes a woman who's rejected feminism and the notion that women must have careers outside the home. So, in conclusion, it's worth noting that the term tradwife is not universally accepted. Some view it as a pejorative or a way to reinforce modern gender stereotypes.
Certainly. I think our episode for today, Mr. Mick, we are empowering women all over the world. So, we discussed already, do women need to kill the man inside their head? And a traditional wife alternatives. How about what are the three options for the modern woman?
Well, we've examined three women and three possible options: tradwife, platonic female friendship, or raised standards. For each option, there's a response for the allure of feminine attractiveness. Attractiveness can be a double edged sword. On the one hand, it opens doors to various opportunities, including social advantages, dating options, and career opportunities. On the other hand, it can create unrealistic expectations and pressures. Attractive women may feel they must maintain a certain image, which can lead to settling because of fear of loneliness or societal rejection. From a young age, society bombards individuals with messages about beauty and desirability. Women, in particular, are often judged based on their looks. This pressure can lead to compromise or in their choice of partners. The fear of being single or the desire for companionship can push attractive women to overlook red flags or settle for less than what they truly want. Many girls seek validation from others. This need for approval can drive them to choose partners who may not align with their values or aspirations. Instead of focusing on a meaningful connection, they may prioritize the relationship itself, fearing that being single is worse than being in a less than ideal relationship. The fear of loneliness is a powerful motivator. Attractive women might feel pressure to be in a relationship, leading them to settle for partners who do not meet their standards. The desire for emotional security can overshadow their importance of compatibility and shared values. Even the most confident and attractive woman can struggle with feelings of inadequacy, leading them to make compromises. Life experiences shape our perceptions and choices. For attractive women, past relationships may have influenced their current decisions. Negative experiences can lead to a sense of desperation or a belief that they need to settle for someone who is good enough rather than waiting for the right partner. As women age, societal pressures can intensify. The ticking biological clock and the fear of being perceived as left behind can push women to settle for partners they may not have considered in their younger years. This shift can be a significant factor as why hot girls may compromise their values. Friends and social circles can also play a role in relationship choices. If an attractive woman's friends are settling or in less than the ideal relationships, she might feel compelled to follow suit. In conclusion, the desire to fit in and share similar experiences can lead to compromise in partner selection.
Certainly. So, how about the modern biblical perspective, Mr. Mac?
In the Bible, the Apostle Paul writes that a woman's desire to be saved and sanctified is not fulfilled through her relationships with other women, but through her relationship with Christ. 1 Corinthians 7:34-35. While female friendships can be a source of comfort and support, they are not a substitute for the intimate and sacrificial love of a husband. In fact, the Bible teaches that a woman's primary role is to be a helpmeet to him. It's Ephesians 5:22-24, and Genesis 2:18. This does not mean that a woman's relationships with other women are unimportant, but rather they should be secondary to a relationship with her husband. A woman who favors female friendships over marriage may be neglecting her God given role and responsibilities as a wife and may be missing out on the blessings and joys that come from a godly marriage. Moreover, the Bible offers an alternative view of relationships and the value of self worth. It emphasizes the importance of inner beauty, character, and faith over physical appearance. In Proverbs 31:30, it states, "Charm is deceitful and beauty is vain, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised." This scripture highlights the significance of spiritual and moral values over superficial traits. From a biblical perspective, a woman's worth is not defined by her attractiveness, but by her relationship with God and her character. Under this can empower women to seek partners who share their values and beliefs rather than settling for someone simply because of fear or social pressure. In the Bible, relationships are built on mutual respect, love, and shared faith. Ephesians emphasizes the importance of love and respect in partnerships. When women prioritize these values, they are less likely to settle for relationships that do not align with their beliefs and aspirations. For attractive women, the journey towards understanding their worth can be transformative. It involves recognizing their value beyond physical appearance and embracing their individuality. This journey often leads to healthier relationship choices. Developing self esteem is key to making better choices in relationships. Women should focus on their strengths, talents, and values. Engaging in activities that promote self discovery can help them gain confidence and clarity about what they want in a partner. Building a supportive community is essential. Friends, family, and mentors can provide valuable perspectives and encouragement. Surrounding oneself with people who prioritize values and character can reinforce the importance of not settling in relationships. The phenomenon of attractive women settling for less than they deserve is complex and influenced by various societal, emotional, and personal factors. However, by understanding their worth and embracing biblical values, these women can make empowered choices in their relationships. Instead of compromising their values, they can seek partners who respect and uplift them, leading to fulfilling and meaningful connections. Ultimately, the journey towards self discovery and faith can guide attractive women to a path of genuine love, respect, and lasting happiness.
Certainly. And again, we salute all women all over the world. This episode is dedicated to all of you to empower you as a woman. The question of why hot girls settle is often rooted in misconceptions about relationships and attraction. Physical beauty alone does not indicate or dictate a person's desires, values, or emotional needs. Many attractive individuals prioritize deeper qualities such as emotional connection, stability, shared values, and love. So, Mr. Mink, another great episode on love letters. Would you like to plug something?
Sure, the Doctor of Digital podcast, and of course, the Idea to Author Coach on Facebook, where I help authors get published and sell more books. Also, if you're speaking of books, you can also pick up Burning America or On Track Ian Hunter, my volumes, both available on Amazon. And so, thank you for the opportunity. The Idea to Author Coach on Facebook.
Yes, people, I want to plug in our newest baby, Mental Health 101. Mental Health 101 is created to empower our mental health awareness. So please do listen and contribute to this podcast if you are interested to. And Mr. Mick, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Daniel. Deus Vol.
Marticam people, see you soon.